Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something that's super important, but let's be honest, can be kind of confusing. Real estate contracts. We're going to demystify the whole thing. You know the feeling, right? You're about to make a huge move, buying a house, renting a new place, and someone slides a mountain of paperwork across the table. It's just pages and pages of dense legal text. So what are you actually agreeing to when you sign on that dotted line? Okay, here's the best way to think about it. That stack of paper isn't just a hurdle you have to jump over. It's the actual blueprint for the entire deal. It lays out every single detail, every responsibility, and it's built to make sure the whole thing is on solid ground. And here's the key. It's not just there to protect one person, it's there to protect everyone involved.
So, where does this all start? Well, if you're a seller, your journey begins with the very first contract you'll probably ever see, the agreement you make with your real estate agent. And that document is called the listing agreement. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is as an employment contract. You are officially hiring a broker to be your agent, to market your property, and to find you a buyer. This is what gives them the green light to get to work for you. But, and this is important, not all listing agreements are the same. You've got options. The most common one is the exclusive right to sell. This means your agent gets paid if the house sells, period. Doesn't matter who finds the buyer. This gives them the biggest incentive to go all out. Then there's the exclusive agency agreement. This is for sellers who think, hey, I might find the buyer myself. If you do, you don't owe a commission. And finally, you've got the open listing, which is kind of like the Wild West. You can have multiple brokers working for you, and only the one who actually brings the buyer gets the prize. So, which one is right for you? It all comes down to your strategy. All right, let's flip the script and jump over to the buyer's side of the table. For the longest time, it was just kind of assumed that all agents worked for the seller. But wow, has that idea changed?
And this brings us to a really, really critical distinction you have to understand. Are you a client or are you just a customer? See, an agent has a formal legal duty to represent their client's best interests. But a customer, well, an agent can help them out, show them homes, do paperwork, but their primary loyalty, their duty, is to the person who hired them, which has traditionally been the seller.
So how do you make sure you're a client and not just a customer? Simple. You sign a buyer agency agreement. It's the buyer's version of that listing agreement we just talked about. It's an employment contract where you formally hire a broker to be in your corner fighting for your best interests.
And why is this so important? Well, because it unlocks a massive advantage. Having your own agent means you get access to inside market data. They'll help you weed out the bad properties, sure, but the real power is in the negotiation. They help you craft offers, they advise you on strategy, and maybe most importantly, they act as a professional buffer. They stand between you and the seller during those tense back and forth moments. They're your guide and your advocate through the whole maze. Now, things in real estate are always changing, and there's a big push happening right now for more transparency. One of the results is a change in language. You're going to hear the word commission a lot less and the word compensation a lot more. It might seem like a small thing, but it's all part of a bigger effort to make it absolutely crystal clear how agents get paid for all the work they do. Of course, buying and selling aren't the only games in town. The world of real estate is huge, so let's take a look at contracts for renting and even some of the less traveled paths to getting a property. If you've ever rented an apartment, chances are you've signed a gross lease. This is the most straightforward, common type of lease out there. It's simple. You pay one flat rent every month, and the landlord takes care of all the other stuff. The taxes, the insurance, the maintenance. It's all about predictable payments. On the other hand, you have a net lease, which you see a lot more in commercial real estate. This one flips the script. The tenant pays a base rent, plus they're on the hook for some or even all of the other operating expenses. It's more responsibility for the tenant for sure, but it usually comes with a lower base rent to start. But what happens if you can't get a traditional mortgage from a bank? One alternative out there is called a contract for deed. Basically, the seller acts as the bank. You, the buyer, make your monthly payments directly to them. But here's the big catch. The seller hangs on to the legal title of the property until every single payment has been made.
But, and I can't stress this enough, this path is loaded with risk, especially for the buyer. I mean, just imagine. You could make payments for years, building up all that equity, and then, at the very end, discover the seller has a huge lien on the property or went bankrupt and simply can't give you a clean title. It's a situation that requires a ton of caution,
and definitely some good legal advice.
So as we've seen, it doesn't matter if you're selling, buying, renting, or taking a different route. The contract is the absolute bedrock of the entire deal. It's the official rulebook. It defines the relationship, it lays out all the responsibilities, and it guides you through what is likely one of the biggest financial decisions of your life.
Which leaves us with one final thought. The next time you find yourself with a real estate contract in front of you, before your pen even thinks about touching that paper, I want you to ask yourself this. What is the single most important question I need to ask right now to make absolutely sure my interests are protected?